Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is Faith. Today guys, I'll be checking out Trad Wife Answers Tough Question featuring Estee William, who went viral on TikTok. And you guys, I'm super excited as always to check out what Estee William has to say. If you're here to subscribe to this channel, please consider subscribing, give this video a massive thumbs up, comment, share, and all that good stuff. And if you are ready, let's jump right into this video.
You can be a trad wife, like my guest, Estee Williams, a 25-year-old woman who has gone viral. I'm sure you've seen her TikToks and Insta stories and MySpace posts and Zanga journals and AOL Instant Messenger emojis and anything else. She's been the subject of very nasty articles by the libs in the media. Estee, thank you for coming on the show.
Hi, Michael, and thank you so much for having me.
My pleasure. First off, when I first saw your name, I was tempted to pronounce it Estee, as in louder, but it is Estee.
Yes, no accent, so it's the American version.
Very American, very traditional. For those who don't know, Estee, what is a trad wife?
Well, a trad wife is just short for traditional wife, and it is a homemaker, and she cooks, she cleans, she takes care of the home and the children, if there are any, and the online world gave it the term trad wife for short.
What motivated you to pursue this traditional life? Were you raised on the farm somewhere? I mean, were you raised in this way? Or was it a conscious choice to become this thing?
Well, I was somewhat raised traditional. My mom was a traditional wife until my parents got divorced. And then, of course, that threw our family for a spin. And I think I felt the need to fit the mold of the world and go get a degree, find a career. And I did go to college for almost 2 years, and then I dropped out because secretly I always wanted this lifestyle. Of course, you need a husband to have this lifestyle. So when I met my now husband, everything just came into place. And that's really the inspiration behind it. It was a dream.
So do you think that one of the driving forces behind the traditional movement for men and especially for women who want to be trad wives, do you think it's things like divorce? Do you think it's people coming from a culture that is broken, that lived out all of the pathologies of the liberal age of Aquarius, hippy-dippy sexual revolution and realize that the fruits of that revolution were just poison, and so they're rebelling against that?
Yeah, I think that's actually a great point. And at least for my generation, I grew up being told that you need a career and the boss babe era, right? And I think a lot of women are realizing that they want to embrace this natural role as a woman and be a mother, be a wife, and that is enough.
That's
you don't need a career to
originally
feel fulfilled as a woman.
How has your family reacted to it?
My family is nothing but supportive. And in fact, a lot of the women in my family are boss babes, but we celebrate each other's differences and what make all of us happy. And they've shown nothing but support.
Well, that's wonderful to hear. Do they think you're a little crazy? I mean, I know, because I have a lot of liberal family and a lot of liberal friends. I grew up in New York, and perhaps I consciously, moved away from some of those ideas too, but they think I'm nuts. They're kind of nice about it, most of them, but they think I'm pretty crazy. Do they think that about you?
Well, they definitely thought I was crazy. When I dropped out of college, I was studying to be a meteorologist. And when I told them, yeah, I met my husband, I'm dropping out of college, they're like, you're nuts.
Why not? Why? You don't need the BS degree and you don't need the BA degree if what you're going for is the MRS degree and you're able to get that in 2 years.
That's absolutely right. Honestly, I think going back to our roots and kind of like doing what our grandmothers, maybe some of our grandmothers did, it is really giving women this fulfillment and filling their hearts with joy to take care of their families.
Now, is there a kind of a contradiction with being a trad wife who is very publicly a trad wife on social media? Meaning you are probably the most identifiable figure of this whole movement, but it's a movement that says women should basically be homemakers and running private life. So does it undermine the trad life to be a public Insta celebrity trad wife.
That's interesting. I get those comments all the time, like, how are you a trad wife? You're online. And it's like, well, I guess 1950s trad wives weren't trad wives if they're using dishwashers and washing machines. If women in the 1800s weren't using those, I think as time goes on, like, life is
Yeah,
changing and we live in an
that's true.
online world. And I've been using that to my advantage to really try and inspire younger women who maybe deep down have this desire to be a trad wife, but they're being told, no, you need a career, you need to support yourself, and you don't need to depend on a man. But that's simply not true.
You know, I don't know if the analogy to the washing machine is totally apt, because the washing machine it's a technology that allows you to live this private life, and run the household more efficiently. Whereas the public facing stuff on Instagram doesn't do that. I think the better analogy might be maybe Phyllis Schlafly, who I think is one of the greatest women of the 20th century. And Phyllis Schlafly was, in many ways, a trad wife, and also one of the most important political leaders in American history. And she was a wife and a mother, and she had 6 kids, and also she single-handedly shot down the Equal Rights Amendment, and is truly one of my favorite conservative movement figures. That you are living this life, yes, but the way that we all interact with you is you are telling women in a really public-facing way, hey, it's okay. Your desires that you have to not go work at a widget factory for Mr. McGillicuddy who doesn't care about you, your desire to have a family that loves you and work for them, it's normal. It's okay. You can do that. And I guess the irony of that is you've got to be a public girl boss kind of to do that, to tell people either to shut down the ERA or even to tell people on Instagram to live a normal life.
That's a good point.
So what goes into the trad wife lifestyle? Beyond what we see on Instagram, is it laundry and cooking, and is it having lots of babies? Is it going to the PTA? Is it what's the fully fleshed out life look like beyond, a minute or two on Instagram?
Yeah, well, I mean, a lot of the time I'm cooking, I'm cleaning, and I do like to know what me and my husband are eating. And that's why I cook all of our meals from scratch. And instead of going to get fast food after work and living in this fast paced life, it's a slow way of living. And we don't have children yet. We do plan to start a family in 2024. But for now, I'm just taking care of myself, our home, and my husband.
I love this idea of slowing down, because modern culture, not just on the left, but on the right too, seems totally geared towards speeding up. I'm from New York. We walk very fast. We talk fairly fast. So I feel it too. And maybe you want your husband to be out there in public, working fast, working hard, bringing home the bacon, but you also need a place of peace, a place to rest, a place to gather your thoughts. What does your husband think of all this? Did he consciously marry a trad wife, or were you a little different when you guys met?
Well, he met me when I was in college, and it was funny. Actually, on our first date, he mentioned that he wanted to provide for a traditional wife, a homemaker. I don't think trad wife was definitely not the word, but a homemaker. And he wanted that wife to take care of the children. He saw the importance and the value of a woman creating a warm home and taking care of the family, raising the children ourselves instead of dropping them off at daycare and having somebody else raise them.
Right. There's this weird phenomenon in modern culture where the woman goes and works for a guy so she can make money so that the husband can pay some other woman to raise their kids. And it just seems very inefficient. Maybe that ticks GDP up a little bit. Maybe there are market incentives for that, but it's completely insane. And for a lot of people, they need 2 incomes. It's very difficult these days to raise a family on one income. So what do you say to those people who find themselves in this situation where maybe the wife doesn't want to go out there and work, but just, the economy is such that her husband isn't making enough money to support both of them, or support, lots of kids maybe?
Well, the economy will always be an issue, I feel like, especially for many families in the middle class. And truthfully, my husband and I have really budgeted extremely, actually. We write down our budget and we stick with it and we live within our means. And it's possible, but I see a lot of people going and buying a house that requires both incomes. And if you want to move into that more traditional way of living, you have to learn to depend on your husband and buy a house within means of his income and not two incomes, if that makes sense. And just really sticking with your budget.
That's a great point. You're right. Part of the reason that two incomes seem to be required now is not just because the economy has been rigged in a way that incentivizes it, and not just because political forces have manipulated wages, though that obviously has happened as well. That's part of the story. But also because we have all sorts of nice fancy stuff now, and people get addicted to the nice fancy stuff and the big house or the gadgets or whatever. And so you're saying, look, there's going to be a cost to anything in life, but you seem to suggest that the value of traditional living is well worth the cost.
Absolutely.
That's great. Well, Estee, I think it's terrific. I think it's quite inspiring. And in fact, I know it because I talk to people who have been inspired by this idea of tradition, you know, being a trad wife and living that trad life. So best of luck. I think it's really terrific. And thank you for coming on the show.
Thank you so much for having me, Michael.
Searching for my 1950s woman. Searching for my calendar girl that I can come home to.
Wow, you guys. After watching this interview with Estee William, I was so surprised because what she mentioned here is just what we go through here in Africa. This is the life we know, and hearing the term trad wife was such a big surprise to me because women over here, they get married, they raise the children, they cook every day, they take care of their husband, and it's absolutely not a big deal. And seeing that these daily life activities over here is such a big deal over there in the Western world is so mind-boggling. Oh my God, I'm not saying anything extraordinary that she's doing because this is what we do over here. Please do not bash me in the comment section. I'm just saying my own opinion because this is the life we're used to here. No matter whether you are a career woman, you are a stay-at-home mother, you do all of these things that she does, and nobody raises an eyebrow over it that you are doing something extraordinary. This is my own very opinion and the way I see life over here. So guys, let me know in the comment section if this trad wife thing is a big deal over there. And oh my God, I really enjoyed this interview, and I'll see you guys in my next one. Bye guys.